and boom goes the dynamite.
Welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show. This is the Daily Dive. I am your host, Michael Carbellis. To everyone on the West Coast, good morning. Everyone on the East Coast, good afternoon. It's time for lunch and some lacrosse talk. This show is presented by our store. Go to Daily Dive Lax on social media and click the Our Store tab to shop everything with this logo on it. When you do, it helps out the show tremendously. It's the best way to support the show as we try to grow the game. On today's show, our top story will be Season 1 in review. We'll break down all things NLL as well as the Daily Dive show in general. Our Fanatic segment will be why I think the Seals had a chance this year. Our last brew will be every team matched up, what that means, and what we're hearing. And of course, we'll have two announcements at the end of the show. So without further ado, this is Daily Dive Season 1 finale. And our top story is Season 1 in review, presented by Daily Dive Store. So, I'm not going to get emotional, but remember, with a new year of NLL, came a new commissioner in Brett Frood, and the first ever Monday through Friday, well, the first, I don't know if it's ever, but Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show called Daily Dive, which aired on November 28th, 2022. As you know, a person's name I have not mentioned in quite some time, and I guess I'll break the ice now and tell you what transpired. Renee Washington was our awesome host for a good part of the first part of this season. Every day at noon Eastern, she would be front and center on the camera. I would be backstage playing producer and sometimes hot take analyst. I do want to officially mention, as you may have seen on social media, Renee Washington is now working for ABC in Philadelphia, doing awesome things with sports over there. And we wish her nothing but the best. It was awesome to learn from her professionalism. Not only was she a former awesome athlete in soccer, she also knew her stuff in the NLL, being one of their old hosts of the Coast to Coast show in the old NLL studio. Renee Washington was nothing short of amazing, and I wish her the absolute best. It's the first time I've said this on the show, so it's official that Renee Washington was not with us for the final part of the season, but she was amazing nonetheless. There was no bridges burned. She was awesome. I've still kept in contact with her every now and again. I highly recommend to follow her. She's charismatic, and she was just an amazing part of how we started and how I was able to learn more as the show grew. She also helped out with some topics early on that have stayed on this show, as we thank her so much for that. We also remember in the NLL, for the league part of it, the Rochester Nighthawks started so hot, they took the league by storm. Of course, we know, on the other hand, the Georgia Swarm were terrible. Remember, they were like 0-7 or 0-6 for a while. It was like, man, is this team ever going to win? I was calling out Lyle Thompson. Then we had some guests on in between time. We had Kevin Finneran, who had his number retired by the Philadelphia Wings. We had him on the show before and after that announcement, and how awesome and charismatic he was. We had Callum Crawford at the beginning of the season and towards the end of the season on twice, one of the top point getters in NLL history. Some of our regular guests included Cooper Perkins, who runs Lacrosse Metrics, Lax Metrics, and also, not only did he bring advanced stats to the game, and I thought should have been an award finalist for Media Person of the Year, but Cooper Perkins brought the fire. He was able to broadcast the outdoor game with the Seals and the Desert Dogs. He used to play-by-play for the Seals, called some great games. We had Cody Jansen, Saskatchewan Rush play-by-play. He was spectacular. He took shots at me for some tweets that I had. We had Ryan Ballantyne, the Calgary Roughnecks analyst. We had Steve Bermel, the Bandits analyst. We had Jamie Shuchuk of the Mammoth, Hutton Jackson, Brian Andrews. And then more so on the show, well, I made NLL memes page twice. And that was really my first chance of, I don't know if the word stardom. That was my first look at, wow, I'm actually being recognized in this space. Because I made NLL memes at the beginning of the season. And of course, at the end, we all know what the Dane Smith stuff. I called out Paul Rabel after his wild comments on Trevor Baptiste being the first ever African-American to win a professional lacrosse MVP. We all know that was Dane Smith. And I think that was why NLL memes got me, actually. They said let the Doughboys speak, and I was like, that was great. Also, we said, where's Brett Frood? We also counted one by one the Albany Firewolves attendances. Remember that? I was like, well, I don't know if this is 3,000 people here. There's more like 300 people here, if that. And so that made its rounds on social media. That was pretty fun. And like I said, we did announce the attendances every single week until the NLL finally caught on to us. In terms of more guests we had on the show, John Gertler of the Buffalo Bandits, who battled their fair share of injuries and kind of limped forward, as long as the Colorado Mammoth limped forward as well throughout this entire season. Brendan Glasheen came on the show after calling the amazing Toronto Rock and Buffalo Bandits rematch in the regular season. We had Andy Towers of the PLL on a couple of times. Scott Godfrey of the Crossing Barriers. And I think they're downstairs. But basically, Scott Godfrey gave me, here they are, right in front of my face. Scott Godfrey gave me this awesome stuff right here, including, he mailed these to me with a boy named Ethan, who gave me a nice letter saying, I hope you enjoy doing your podcast. And I wish I remember the name of his team. I don't even want to guess what it was, but maybe I can tweet that out later. But I got this awesome LB Crossing Barriers clip, this little pin. Let me see if I can get it up there. The great work that they do. And of course, we got these two awesome stickers. That was pretty fun. We know the Crossing Barriers, Scott Godfrey came on the show. They had some awesome people that watched the show. I attended a Jordan Swarm game with a media pass, thanks to that amazing crew, as they did beat the Saskatchewan Rush in Georgia. We interviewed Marshall Palace, who was traded afterwards from the Rush to the Firewolves and recently signed a 2-year deal. We also interviewed Teddy Jenner, who eventually won MVP, especially MVP of the Media Year League. He won Media League. Good Lord, I'm terrible. He won Media Person of the Year. We interviewed Adam Levy twice, and the first time didn't count, obviously. Wasn't his fault, it was our fault. We interviewed Graham Perot, who runs the awesome NLLstats.com website. Jonathan Donville, who won Rookie of the Year. We interviewed him before that. Brad Dobson, who was in contention. We interviewed Latrell Harris, who won Defensive Player of the Year, brought the charisma. Interviewed Nick Rose, one of the best goalies in the league. Maggie Hale, Pat Gregoire. We had a contest that was won by WSOL 42. His name is Bill. He won our contest that 10 people entered in the playoffs. And overall on social media, we collected 72 Instagram followers, 280 Twitter followers, 43 YouTube subscribers, and we even averaged over 250 people watching the show on Twitter in May. So that's a big round of applause for us, including like a peak of, I believe, 1,500. And wow, how did that happen? Well, Christian Del Bianco called out me on social media a few times to where I thought it was pretty fun back and forth for a while there. Curtis Dixon also called me out after the Seals lost. And of course, Kurt Malosky, I called him out for winning Coach of the Year. And then, of course, the coach of the Panther City, Paul Kowalski, ends up liking one of my tweets. Dan Teat, Jeff Teat's father, liked some tweets against the show. Dane Smith, after he won Finals MVP, kept receipts. Overall, an absolutely insane year for Dilly Dive. From the beginning with Renee Washington and we are announcing attendances, all the way to when she was able to graduate and be awesome at what she does now, to getting called out on social media, making the NLL memes page, talking PLL with Amy Towers and growing to love PLL. Just an insane season of the NLL and Dilly Dive. We were happy to bring it to you. I cannot thank you guys enough for all you've done. And the best part is we still got more of this show to do. So when I come back, how about another hot take? And no, it's not just one of those things, because I don't know how to do this, but basically people accuse me of saying things that I don't really believe. And I do believe these things. So when I come back, why not give you one more? And it's anti-Mammoth. We'll explain next. This is Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Daily Dive, presented by Fanatics. If you want the best in sports merchandise and one of the best ways to support the show, it's one of the easiest ways. Go to Daily Dive Lax on social media, click the link tree in our bios, and click the Fanatics logo. When you make a purchase through Fanatics with the awesome merchandise from every team in the league, including the NLL, it helps us out the show, helps out the show tremendously. For that, we thank you. I also want to mention other great guests like Chris Palme, who runs his own podcast. We had Buffalo Sports Collective, PK, and Phil on multiple times. Those guys were great. Highly recommend their show, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Alrighty. This one is going to surprise you. But if you know me by now, I may not. The San Diego Seals, as we know, lost in a single game elimination in the first round of the NLL playoffs. Many people in our bracket challenge had the Seals to make it all the way to the NLL finals with that super team they had built with Curtis Dixon, aforementioned, Dane Doby, Wes Berg, just the whole crew. But my thing was their goalie with Chris Riglieri and Frank Chiliano was an issue, and the Mammoth were able to take advantage of that. However, let's say for the sake of argument, the offensive talent was able to prevail for, let's say, a 3-game series. And let's say the Seals were able to come back and win 2-1, and then they play Calgary. I think there's a good chance they beat Calgary because they know Christian Delby ain't go too well. I believe the San Diego Seals, I don't know if they would have beaten the Buffalo Bandits. I think the San Diego Seals would have put up a better fight than the Mammoth did. I know what you're saying. Well, the Mammoth won a game and forced a game 3. Yeah, and the games they lost, they should have lost by even more than what they already did. Remember when game 1 they only lost by a point? The Mammoth did, and we were like, well, how is this even possible? Game 2, of course, Colorado won. I think Buffalo would have gone through absolute fire if they had to play the Seals in game 3. I think the San Diego Seals would have put up a much better fight offensively. I still believe Buffalo would have won the whole thing. But you have to wonder if looking back 10 years from now at this kind of thing, when the historians come in, there's a lot of more hot take guys in here, are we going to look back and say, well, that was Seal game elimination. Seals might have given the Bandits more than they could have asked for. That could be a serious conversation. For now, of course, shout out to Colorado for what they were able to do. But I do believe it was a 3-game series. I believe San Diego would have gotten past Calgary, would have gotten past Colorado, and would have given the Bandits a run for their money. They were the super team. The talent was allowed to prevail because single-game elimination, sometimes the talent does not prevail. But 3 games, they might have gotten past Dylan Ward. Because Dylan Ward did not lock down until probably game 2 and 3 of the Calgary series. Then he started being electric. And, of course, game 3 against the Bandits, he unraveled again. But make no mistake, I believe San Diego Seals would have been a great finals matchup, and game 3 would not have been a snooze fest. Even though Buffalo was hitting on all cylinders, you cannot play around with the San Diego Seals and their offense. I do think their goaltending is about 10 times worse than Dylan Ward's because Chris Ruglieri had the job, then Frank Scigliano took his job back, and then they just gave up 13 or 14 goals to the Mammoth in a single game elimination. As we know, there's a lot of people who do not like that format. Cooper Perkins mentioned there could be a play-in tournament, and that could be your single game elimination. Unfortunately, there was not. We have to live with the results. But make no mistake, San Diego Seals would have been a better finals opponent for the Buffalo Bandits. And I believe that. When I come back, though, we're hearing something here on Daily Dive. So we've got one more segment and 2 big announcements for this show moving forward. This is Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. One final segment for the first season. You won't want to miss it. Bye. Well, bye. Good Lord. See you in a few. If you want the best in coffee with new flavors you never knew you needed, go to BRazCoffeeCO.com and check out the coffee that's made by gamers, for gamers, and of course, Daily Dive and lacrosse fans. When you do, use the code DailyDive to help give us credit. That's BRazCoffeeCO.com, code DailyDive at checkout. Oh, it's been a long season, right? From November 28th to now. This is it. But here we are. We are hearing, and I know that, let me make this clear, this has been a talking point for what I understand a few years now. Fans have speculated on this, but there is talks that are heating up inside the NLL circles that there's a push for every team to play each other at least once next season. Now, would that extend the season from 18 games to like 20-something? I have no idea. I could speculate that could be a thing. Because if you don't play all the other 14 teams, and you also have to play your conference a few times, you could have like a 24, 25-game season. That was not what I was hearing. I'm just speculating that point. What we are hearing on this show is that there's a big push for Brett Frude to change it to every team plays each other once. And I actually like that. I don't know how plausible that is, but it's a possibility. And, of course, like I said, would that mean we extend the season? I don't know. I would not be opposed to more NLL. We'll have to see. Also, the training for the exhibition games for the NLL, I believe it's going to start. Let me make sure I got this date correctly here. November 15th is when the exhibition games will start, according to the knowledge that I have learned. So, with that being said, are you ready to find out when you're going to see me again and all the great changes we've had since until that point? Well, here's our first of 2 announcements. The first one is Daily Dive Season 2 will return Wednesday, November 1st, 2023 at noon Eastern, right here, Daily Dive / social media, and of course on YouTube. So thanks again for those of you that have come and watched the show. You got quite a few loyal listeners. It means the world to me that I've been able to develop a platform in this space because the sky is the limit, and that may be putting a cap on our ceiling. If the sky is the lowest we can get, I'm telling you what, man, there's a galaxy far, far away that Daily Dive wants to reach, and we're not even close. So November 1st, 2023, Daily Dive Season 2 will begin. Mark your calendars, set your reminders on your phone. November 1st, on a Wednesday, Daily Dive Season 2. And finally, one more announcement because you could not get enough Daily Dive, so we had to compromise. While Daily Dive, of course, is not going to be Monday through Friday, as you know, I kind of picked up on PLL. And I kind of enjoyed the PLL talk on this show. So, we will announce more about this later on. But for now, I'm announcing PLL Fridays this summer from June 16th, starting next Friday, September 29th. That's right. You're welcome. Again, PLL Fridays, every Friday from June 16th to September 29th at noon Eastern. We will tell you what that means in a later tweet, but for now, that's what you need to know. So remember, the two things, November 1st, 2023, mark your calendars, Daily Dive Season 2. PLL Fridays every Friday from June 16th to September 29th. You're welcome. We have made so many great friends, and I'm telling you what, this was only the beginning. If you think as awesome as Season 1 was on this show, that we were finished, and you think that we peaked, I'm telling you what, I peaked in middle school. Oh, that doesn't sound good. That does not sound good. I'm kidding. You do not want to miss what this show and this company has in store. So I appreciate everyone that has tuned in to Daily Dive Season 1. It has meant the world to me, whether it was positive or negative, mostly positive really. It has meant the world to me that you have somehow, some way, pushed the algorithm for lacrosse fans in this direction. I want to thank everybody that came on as a guest on the show, even the names I did not mention. Thank you for your commitment to growing lacrosse and helping out our show in the process. I would want to thank the people behind the scenes, including Renee Washington, who was great to start our Daily Dive's career here, and we wish her nothing but the best once again. But to everyone behind the scenes working, this is for you. We're not done yet. I am your host, Michael Carpellis. This has been a very successful Season 1 of Daily Dive. You guys have a great rest of your summer. If you tune in for PLL Fridays, that'd be awesome. If you don't, we'll see you November 1st. For everyone that contributed, once again, I'm Michael Carpellis saying have a great summer. This is Daily Dive. See you November 1st, same time, same place. Bye.